Okay, so fire safety and prevention is talked about in schools and at work, but not at home as much, right? A place many of us are spending a lot more time. Well, today to talk about safety, let's bring in Captain Michael Kozo, Director of FDNY Fire Safety Education. Good morning to you, Captain.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, but there are many of us working from home and remote learning, and we have devices plugged in, charging all over the place. What do we need to be careful about when using those extension cords?
Well, you want to make sure that the extension cords are for temporary use only. So you shouldn't have appliances or anything plugged into an extension cord for an extended period of time. Also, you don't want to use extension cords for any items that heat or cool. So your microwave or space heater or something like that should be plugged directly into the wall. You should not be using an extension cord for any of those items. Also, you want to be careful that you don't have the extension cords running under carpets and stuff like that, or anything that can ignite.
Now, some folks are going to look at this and go, but wait a second, I have all my computers and printers and all that stuff plugged into this power strip. Do you view that differently?
So a power strip, again, it's basically a glorified extension cord. You want to make sure that none of those items that heat or cool, again, are plugged into a power strip. Low voltage items, such as your computer or your TV, stuff like that, that's okay to use.
Okay.
A lamp, an alarm clock, that's okay for a power strip. But any large current appliances you want to keep plugged directly into the wall outlet. And just keep in mind that just because you're using a power strip doesn't mean that you're getting more power. All you're doing is giving yourself more access to the outlet. That's all.
Right. Most homes do have smoke detectors, and it is required in New York City apartment buildings. But what's the best type of smoke detector to get, and how often should you check it?
So we recommend a 10-year sealed alarm, a combo alarm, one that will notify you for smoke or fire and for carbon monoxide is good. And you want to make sure that you're testing your alarms once a month. And what we call for is a combination smoke and carbon monoxide alarm on every level of your home, plus a smoke-only alarm in every bedroom.
You said a 10-year sealed alarm. What does that mean?
Correct. So now the batteries in the back are lithium-ion batteries, and it's sealed within the unit. So there's no more having to worry about changing the battery when you change your clock.
Yes, that beeping sound in the middle of the night, and you're like, oh no, I got to change the battery. I know exactly.
Of course, the battery always dies at 2 a.m. It never dies at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, what about fire extinguishers? Some folks don't have them in their home. They just never really thought. They figured, the smoke detector would take care of it and they would get out in time. Is it imperative to have a fire extinguisher in your home?
We do believe it is imperative to have a fire extinguisher, and not only to have one, but know how to use it, to check it once a month. The first time that you pick up your fire extinguisher shouldn't be when there's a fire. You should definitely be very familiar with how to use one prior to having a fire. So you definitely want to make sure. We recommend that you have one in the kitchen, and it's also not a bad idea to have one in your bedroom.
Okay.
If you do have a fire in the middle of the night, maybe there's a little bit of fire in between you and your exit, you can always grab that fire extinguisher in your bedroom just to be able to knock down enough fire to escape safely.
You said to check it. I think a lot of folks would think, oh goodness, I can't pull the pin, I can't check it, because if I do, I won't be able to use it again. It's a one-time use kind of thing.
Correct. So by checking it, you want to make sure that you're checking the gauge on top to make sure that there's enough pressure in the extinguisher should you have to use it. So there's an arrow on there. You want to make sure that that arrow is in the green. And you just want to take it and flip it upside down just to make sure that inside everything stays loose and it'll all expel properly when you have to use it.
Okay, so at work and school, we do fire safety drills, right? But at home, many of us really don't have that same kind of safety plan. We just don't think along those lines. We think, okay, we're going to hear the smoke detector, and then we're going to run out of the building. But should people prepare? Should they have that safety plan and practice it?
It's imperative that everybody in their homes has a safety plan, that you go over it with everybody in your home, especially children, and that you practice it regularly. You want to make sure that you know exactly what exits, what ways you have to get out. In case one way is blocked by fire, you could go the other way. You want to make sure that everybody gets out together, and you want to make sure that you have a meeting place once you get outside, so that everybody meets in the same place to know that everyone is out of the home safely and that nobody's still inside.
Practice does, make perfect. And in a time of need, you need to make sure that you don't waste valuable time. But let me ask you, it is winter, and a lot of folks are finding ways to stay warm, sometimes not so safe. What are things that we need to look out for?
A couple things you want to look out for is just using a space heater properly. We've seen a couple of fires involving space heaters, so A lot of people don't like it when I tell them, but what you do with a space heater is you want to run it in the room that you're going to sleep in while you're still awake. Once you go to sleep, you should be shutting off and unplugging that space heater. And you want to make sure that you give space heaters space. 3 feet around a space heater should be clear of anything combustible. And again, like we spoke earlier, you want to make sure that the space heater is plugged directly into the wall outlet. No extension cords, no power strips.
Got it. All right, Captain Kozo, thanks so much for sharing this important information with us. We do appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
And for more info about fire safety and prevention, just go to fdnysmart.org.